Hello and welcome to Web of Light. I am Dr. Kevin.
And Angie Donahue.
And we are here and we have an astrology special. And of course, if you're going to have an astrology special, you have to have something very special that does astrology. And there's no one any more special than our own Web of Light astrologer, Dorothy Morgan. Dorothy today is going to be actually explaining what is a solar return. If you've brushed up against the astrology world, you hear things, you have your solar chart, you have things like your rising sign and your midheaven, and you have all these planets and all these moons and all these houses, and then you will have solar return charts, and there's probably a dozen different kinds of chart. Today we're going to focus on what is a solar return chart, and she's going to be showing you examples of it by using both mine, since I'm just having my birthday, and Angie, who just had her birthday, to talk about what a solar return is and actually share it with us. Dorothy, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. Happy birthday.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, I'm only a few weeks ahead of you, so.
Yeah.
Well, being born on the 4th of July, I always say, means that I came in with a bang.
Yes.
I'm going to go out with a bang. I'm going to bang my way all the way through. That's what it means to be born on the 4th of July. I had somebody actually say to me, who was also born on the 4th of July, that she thought that it was a woman, and she said that she hated having 4th of July as a birthday. She felt like her birthday it was the worst birthday in the world because it always got lost. And I said, oh, then you've been doing it wrong, honey.
Yeah.
I said, I have been the center of the center of existence since the minute I was born with my fireworks.
Yeah.
I said, you got to play it differently.
Yeah, my father is born on July 3rd, so that's today. Matter of fact, we're recording this. So
Yes.
he's 85.
Yeah.
Happy to have him with us still.
It's so interesting. He is 85, and I was born in 1985. Something like that.
Right.
Oh.
My two children were born before 1985. You're a fibber.
But we came together today. You're
Yes.
red and white, and I'm red and blue, and we're red, white, and blue.
There you go.
And then there's Angie.
Hi, Angie.
I got a little bit of it all.
Red, white, and blue.
There you go.
She managed to pull them all together.
And she doesn't look like a flag, which is nice. I don't know. I don't think people's shirts should be flags. I don't.
I think there are some people that have shirts that should be flagged. Do not wear. You see a lot of them in Walmart.
Indeed. Indeed. So, yeah, a solar return. How about we tell you what the solar return chart is? Solar means the sun. So what we do is we take the sun, and when you're born, so we have the day, time, and place that you're born, and the sun is one of the components. It's the one component all of us know about because we all know what's your sign. Unless you're born on one of those days where it shifts from one sign to the other, which we have few, obviously, you might not know. You might think you know, and you might be wrong. I've had that happen.
Yeah.
You have to convince somebody they're a Taurus when they thought they were an Aries their whole life, and they didn't get an astrology reading until they were 50. So she was like, no way, and it's hard to get. But anyways, so what we do is the sun goes back to the exact number and degree as when you were born. So that doesn't mean always, even though we know you were born July 4th, the solar could return like late in the day on the 3rd, early in the day on the 5th. So it's not always the same day. It can be, but it's not always the same day. It's never the same day and time because that moment is rare. It's just a moment in time. So for your solar return to be exactly the same as your birth chart is pretty rare. And so why do we do this? So what this, we have software that does it now. Before we would do it by hand. So now we just type in the current date and just say, do the next solar return. And the software returns, again, the sun to the exact minute and degree. Your sun is 12 degrees of Cancer and 50 minutes. And so it returns it to that position. And so, but that doesn't necessarily mean the rest of the chart is going to look the same.
No, it's all going to be different.
All going to be different. So we know the sun and the sun are in the same place, but the rest of the things are typically different. But if they match up, then that gives you an added opportunity to work on something that is your nature. So your nature is your astrology chart. It's just that wheel with all those symbols on it. And we're here to learn all of that. You know, we're in the center of it, looking out. So our perspective, we're looking out, and this is how we feel, this is how we learn, this is how we communicate, this is our family, this is our career. All of these things are here, what we want to experience. The solar return chart is, in a way, it's going to be like, what's the theme song running in the background for the year?
Okay.
It does not push aside the natal chart. It does not diminish transits, which means where the planets are moving now compared to your astrology chart. It doesn't diminish those. It's just an additional piece.
Now, how does, because one of the other terms that gets kicked around a lot is a progressed chart.
That is different.
Yes. And I understand that, but this is another term, because you know,
Right.
sometimes when people talk to me about astrology, they get those, they only hear them briefly and then they get them confused.
They do.
And so can you take a second and tell us what a progressed chart is? I know you didn't do one, but what a progressed chart is.
Okay. So the progressed chart, we just get the book of numbers out, the ephemeris, and all you have to do is move the chart ahead 1 day per year. So say you just turned 30. So we find the July 4th, the year you were born, and then we go, that's one, you know, so we go ahead 30 years, 30 days. And that, where the planets are located at that moment in time, is the progressed chart. So what does that mean? What that means is, I use them all the time. I love progressed charts. It shows us what the spirit, what the soul is ready to start to work on, or something new it wants to understand. And to me, it's like the fail-safes or the check-ins, you know, because sometimes not all aspects are easy. Sometimes they create some tension and some stress. So we pay attention and do something. So depending on many, many multiple different things is what's going on with the progressed chart. It is a very slow process. Nothing quick about it. There is nothing quick in the progressed chart. It's just like we look back 10 years and see what was going on 10 years ago. Then we can see a change. Typically can't see a change when we're in it because the progressed chart moves so slowly. So it's just going to elementary school. Here's a great example. We learn ABCs. By the time we get done that, we go to, if you have middle school, and then a junior high, and then a high school. Information, and you stretch your knowledge and you learn more. You stretch your knowledge and you learn more.
Well, and one of the things is, and this is one of the ways if I'm talking to somebody myself, is when you're born, the energies that are around you, you can project till the end of your days.
Absolutely.
If you knew what they were. So if you hypothetically did one for 100 years, you're going to know the one layer of this is what the road's going to look like that I'm walking on. The solar chart is the person walking the chart.
For that year, yeah.
Yeah, and so when you progress the chart, you see where am I on the road, who I am as the person, as to what set of clothes am I wearing, would be the solar return, but the body inside is not going to change.
Nope.
And then the transits are the weather.
Yeah, so how do we deal with what's going on around us at this moment in time? Exactly.
Yep. So it's very, again, it just gives you more information. So speaking of that, tell me about my solar return. One other thing I want to do is, because I used to do this all the time and I haven't done it the last couple of years, but I want to put that out there because I know it's something that you do as well, which is where you're having your birthday. I mean, I've flown to New Orleans to have a birthday because it was going to give me a different
It does.
solar return chart.
A lot of people do that.
I've flown to Montana. I flew to England one year to maximize
People do.
and say, my priority this year is.
Yes.
And when I flew to England, I, at that time, was working with another friend of mine that I've known actually longer than I've known you, that used to do my radio show.
Yes.
And she said, what's your priority? And I'll tell you whether you should be in Portland, Oregon, or Manchester, England.
Yeah.
And I said, my priority is my relationship. I'm ready to settle down and have a relationship. One of the things that happened is that I flew to Manchester, England, and actually stayed in Chester. And when I came home was when Jeff and I solidified things.
Nice. So let me tell you more about that before we get into the actual solar return, because that is very important. Actually, it's as important as you want to make it, and it's an important thing for you. The rest of us, we don't have to do that if we don't want to, but that's important for you to set that up, you know? So I know plenty of people that do this. You will move, and when you move, well, not move, travel, but when you go to a different area in the world, it changes the ascendant of the chart, and that's an important position. Now, another thing about the solar return chart, and this is basically just before your birthday, and so it's not even about the solar return chart, but it's about your cycle of the year. And this is an important thing to remember. So that lasts approximately 10 days, and I know it's a longer time period if people would do the math. It's the last month before your birthday. Now, it's not like we have to stop and we can't just stop life and do nothing. But this is, again, the balsamic time of year for you. And when we say that, that word means it's like that's the period of going within. Everybody has it every single year. It is that month before your birthday. So plan around that, because if you pay attention to your energy levels, who you are, what's going on around you in your life at that point, it is typically a time where you should be completing things, finishing. Now, it doesn't mean you can't, if you have projects at work, that you shouldn't start them. It's not saying that. But on your personal level, what are you needing to do so you can step into your new year fresh and new? This is important to know. So right now, while we're recording this, you're still in your balsamic phase because your birthday isn't until tomorrow at 4:52 p.m. That's tomorrow. Wait a minute. Nope, that's when you had it. Your birthday is tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. There we go. I was looking at the wrong chart. 11:30 a.m. tomorrow is your official birthday for this year. So,
Can I sleep through it and not get up till noon?
yes,
Oh, good.
you should.
There you go.
Whatever it is that you want to do. So we're at that balsamic time of year right now for you. Everybody needs to remember that. If you have an opportunity, the best thing to do is just to go have a vacation, hang out somewhere, like you said. Pick a place to go so you can set up your ascendant, set up your chart, and we're going to go into what all of those things mean in a better way. But you've got to either know astrology or have an astrologer to help you out with that. You know, that's my job.
Yeah,
That's what I love to do. I love it.
As much as I know astrology myself,
Yeah.
I would never do my own progress. I would never do my own solar return. I've had, we won't get into them today, relocation charts done before. I mean, I do the whole gambit, but I would never do them for myself.
Yeah, yep.
Because
that's
you
good.
see what you want to see.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So today, your main focus, though, is going to be on the solar return.
Yes.
And the solar return is about what goes on in your year.
In your year,
That's coming right after your
as soon as your birthday. As soon as your birthday hits.
So this happens each year. You could actually.
Each year there's a different one.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes. Because the moon like whips around us every 28 and a half days.
Yeah.
29 days. It's all the way. So it's going to be somewhere different. Typically, if it's the same as yours when you're born, and you have it in your solar return chart, then you have an opportunity to investigate that piece of yourself even more. And guess what? That's what you have.
I have.
So this year, your solar return chart has your moon in the same sign as your moon when you were born. So it's in Scorpio. So the moon in Scorpio this year helps you to do those things that you appreciate about Scorpio moon, because you're deep into the metaphysical arts, deep into the occult, if you will, deep into transformation, deep into understanding things. Tell us more about your moon, because it's yours. What does it feel like to you? I'm on the outside, you're on the inside. It's your inside.
So my moon is back in Scorpio. To me, a Scorpio moon is one that understands the depths of not only its own emotions, but the emotions of everyone around it. So one of the pros of the Scorpio moon is how deeply I can dive into somebody's emotions and be able to create some kind of connection, simpatico, which makes me very powerful at my client work.
Yeah.
Because my clients oftentimes feel like I truly understand, and I do on a level that I can't even explain, what they're feeling and what their journey is and what they've done. And so I'm able to do that. At the same time, the Scorpio moon is really good at calling bull.
Yeah.
And, I will love you with the stroke of my hand or the back of my hand, whichever one's going to get you to understand.
Yeah.
If you've come to me as a spiritual catalyst, or you've come to me as a good friend and said, I want you to be blunt, well, first of all, those are always dangerous words to say to me, because I was born blunt and I only get worse.
Yeah.
But if you come to me and you truly want my help and insight,
Yeah.
if I try to tell you very gently and you're like, oh, and I go, boom, and you go, oh, got it, then that was service. And that's my Scorpio moon.
Yeah. Wow. Ooh,
Is that a good description?
Yeah, that's fine.
Miss Astrologer?
Yes. Like, change, whether you like it or not. That's what that comes down to.
Yep.
And so, of course, the sun is in the same place. So that's just typical. And we tend to actually, right at the birthday, not everybody, because the Leos love the sun to the sun, because it's just like the Leos are the Leos. But we can feel overtired, honestly, because it's too much focus. This is why a lot of people don't like birthdays, because it's too much attention. Because a lot of people are shy, and it's just too much attention, and they're like, "Oh, stop, don't," because that happens. Yeah, I know. You have no clue what that means.
No.
What are you talking
Yes,
about?
Person.
I have no clue. I start celebrating my birthday on July 4th at midnight.
Yeah.
And the proper time to stop celebrating my birthday is July 3rd at midnight the next year.
Oh.
Every day.
Yep, not very Cancer-like.
Go ahead. Would you say not very Cancer-like?
Not very Cancer-like at all.
Well, where does that come from?
That's your Leo retrograde. Mercury in Leo retrograde. It's probably out of bounds, too. I don't know. I didn't look.
There you go. So go ahead.
So more with that. So basically, we just put the solar return chart around your birthday chart, and it looks like this. I'm wondering if I can hold this up, if you guys can catch this. And this is it. I'll put it in front of my face.
There you go.
There you go. So that's what it looks like. So we're going to decipher that. All
Go
right?
ahead.
There you are. So the sun's just going to be where it is when you're born. So that's a whole different story. But then we also have Mars. So Mars is connected to all your Cancer stuff. So every couple of years, Mars is going to be in Cancer near your birthday, but maybe not always. And so this will energize all your Cancer energy. So this gives that emotion a lot of fire. So I know you had an emotional weekend doing a lot of different things some were good, some were, maybe not quite so great. So it built all that up. So how you want to use this all year? This is going to be here all year. So it gives you this opportunity to have a lot of extra energy and to put emotion behind it, because you were not born with that. You were born with your Mars in the sign of Taurus. Mars in Taurus is very it's methodical, very material, very focused on knowing exactly what it's focusing on, because it's what I value. Mars in Cancer in your own zodiac sign for the whole year gives you more emphasis on the emotional piece and being able to use Mars in a different way than what you're born with.
Okay. Interesting, because there's that go from earth to water kind of, the word is escaping me, not a trine, the sextile, right?
It's a sextile.
Yes,
Yep.
sextile. So my natal moon would support my solar return moon.
Right, because Mars is the solar return Mars is at 120-degree angle called a trine to your natal moon and to the solar return moon. So they're both connected. So there's a lot of water. So when we say trine, trine's easy energy. It flows. They're the same element. So they cooperate in the emotional way, which
My
is
sun and
important.
moon like to hang out together.
Yeah.
And my Mars is
And the solar return Mars is connecting with that this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's got shotgun.
It does have shotgun. It does. And these are the things that we have to look at is like what kind of patterns are the same or similar, or what things are relating to each other the same or similar. And so your moon and your Mars in your birth chart are connected as opposites. But in the solar return chart, the moon and Mars are in a trine aspect. And so these are all actually easy aspects.
Good.
Opposition's not as difficult as some people consider it, because like I've said before, opposition is just like you and me right now. We're working together. A square would be the person that's sitting over there in the dark. I can't see her, but I know she's there. And so for me to work with a square, I would have to turn, look away from you, move my position, and I have to do a lot of things to get the attention of that energy over there. So when we have trines, you'd be a trine because you're off a little bit. And so these energetic angles are either easy because we can see them, doesn't mean we have nothing to do, or they're more difficult and it creates extra effort, and there are many times when extra effort is worth it. So.
Okay.
All right, so that is just something I just wanted to, a little lecture.
There you go.
Mercury. Now, Mercury is not in Leo like when you were born, because Mercury actually only takes about, I think it's 10.5 months to go around the zodiac, because it's close to the sun. And Mercury's in Cancer this year for you. It's not your Mercury in Leo. Now, like I've already said, this does not mean the natal chart is null and void. You always have Mercury in Leo. You're really shy. You're not that shy of having Mercury in Cancer, by the way, because your Mercury is like 10 minutes away from being in the sign of Cancer when you were born, but it isn't, and so that's the point. Ta-da! It's all that fancy stuff that you do. So with Mercury in Cancer, we communicate through our emotions. It's very important. Very important.
So I'm going to be moving from passion-based communication to emotional-based communication.
Isn't that funny? You talked about that in an earlier show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Difference between passion and emotions.
Yes.
So,
Yep. Yeah.
So that would
I remember that.
That should be interesting.
It'll be very interesting. It'll be very interesting.
Now, is the Mercury close enough to be conjunct my Sun now, or?
It is not. Mercury is over 15 degrees away, so it is not.
Where it is the Mars in between those two, or
It is, but still, it's 10 degrees away. So Mercury is at 28, and Mars is at 19, and the Sun's at 12. So the Sun and Mars are separating aspect. Actually, the Sun is coming up. So that is, those are conjunct. The Mercury is kind of by itself because it's screaming along. It's like,
I'm almost out of here.
Yeah.
I tried to make it to Leo.
It's going 80, it's going 80 and 40, Mercury, I mean, the Sun and Mars are just doing a normal speed. Mercury is out of bounds. It is like, well, not out of bounds, but it's going really fast.
See, I see. When I was being born, knowing what I came here to do, I made my mother have just that one more contraction that put it 10 minutes into Mercury.
Yeah.
Just one more, Ma.
Yeah. Make it
Then I'll
happen.
come out.
Yeah. Make it happen.
Okay.
Make it happen. Now, another thing we like to look at as far as relationships go, and this is so beautiful because I know you're getting married this year, and Venus is in Taurus. It's at the final degree of Taurus. You guys have been off and on, I don't know if you're off and on, but I know you've known each other sort of for ages, and then you finally committed, and now you're getting married. Venus is at the final degree of her own sign of Taurus, just on the edge of your 7th house cuspis, just in your 7th house. That's just all about valuing relationships and bringing relationships together. This is wonderful. This is wonderful.
Nice.
I mean, I like it. I think it's
Partnerships,
wonderful. Yeah. It's a really nice place for Venus to be. Excuse me. What else do I want to focus on? Let's focus a little bit on work. There's nothing in the workhouse, so we won't focus on that. There's the career, though, because the work definitely takes care of itself. So it's interesting, because another thing that I wanted to mention in a show we recorded earlier, your midheaven is Virgo. And the midheaven of the astrology chart, everybody has one. It's the height of the chart. So basically, it's opposite the compass. That's midnight. And so, but it's the height of our public image, our career, what we're known for. And you have Virgo up there. And that's the zodiac sign of work. So the work sector, the Virgo energy, for you is at the midheaven. And so your work is your career and your career is your work. It's not always that way for people, unless you have Virgo at that top place, right? And I like that.
And it's work of service.
It's a work of service.
Yeah.
Right? You should be in the healthcare business, and you are energetically. You help people with their, all the energy healings and different things that you do. So that's the piece of it that's really nice. Now, the solar return chart has its own ascendant in midheaven. Really important. Like I said, so the midheaven is the height of the world seeing us. The ascendant is our face. It's not necessarily our zodiac sign. It's what people guess is our zodiac sign, because it's the front door of the house or your apartment. It's what people see before you get to open the door and let them in. So that's an important place in the astrology chart. It's what's on the eastern horizon at the moment we're born. In the solar return, it's what's on the horizon at the time the sun comes back. So you got Virgo on the ascendant this year. So that means that your natal Virgo midheaven has come to the ascendant of the solar return chart. That means your career is coming to the front. It's really wonderful to see this. This is something that's really good, especially for people who are self-employed and or people who really are looking to promote themselves and just move further in the career. Because some people just work and they don't have careers, and that's good for them. But for people who actually have careers and want growth and movement, for that midheaven to come to the ascendant where it's what you present to the world, all people will see you as a person who does the job that you do, who does the work that you do. I know that's pretty strong anyways in you, but it's even stronger. So that means the ascendant of the solar return is in your 10th house, or your midheaven comes to the ascendant. Both means the same thing. Both mean you're in a period of heightened energy, of heightened appearance. So you keep doing that. The Virgo energy, you don't want to dissipate your energy. So it would just be a little bit of, and this comes through my guides too, just don't spread yourself too thin. We know that routine. That's not always healthy.
Okay.
So, because you will be wanted and needed a lot. So start picking and choosing maybe a little differently. And you'll know, listen to yourself when it comes up, I think is more one of the important things.
So Virgo isn't my ascendant, my rising sign for this year.
Is for the year.
And my midheaven is?
Now, that's the next step. Your midheaven is Gemini. And here we are.
And my fiance is Gemini.
That's right. I remember. That's right. And so, and it's in your 7th house of partnerships. So that just means the Gemini, you never have one Gemini in your life. If you know Geminis, you never have one. They come to the midheaven. So this is, first off, your spouse is a Gemini. You're creating that this year.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, it really is. That's just cool. This stuff, we don't make it up. It's just, I love it. And then with the midheaven in that 7th house, it also says that partnerships, your career partnerships are important, and you have more than one partner in your business, in the work that you're known for, or you have a Gemini as a partner. And I know you're already there. You guys are already partners, but this heightens your activity. It shines a light on the Geminis in your life, whether they're your marriage partner or business partner, and you have one of each. Isn't that something?
Yeah. Yeah. Means I'm going to work you harder this year.
Yes.
Katoosh, katoosh.
Oh, all right. Jupiter. Tell me what you know about Jupiter while I sip on some water. I'm almost out.
I mean, it's the planet of expansion. I always think of it expansion. I think of it as prosperity. Sometimes they used to call it the planet of good luck, where your good luck is most likely to show up.
Yeah.
Now, I know my natal one is in Sagittarius.
Indeed.
Which is higher education, travel, things like that. Hanging out in, Sag.
Yeah.
But it's in my first house.
It is.
Yeah. So where did that not progressed? Where is that this year
For the solar return, it's also in the 10th house. In Libra. Libra is relationships and partnerships. Libra is the 7th house. Right?
Yeah.
These are connections. I know you're like, I'm lost. I don't know what you're saying. I know you get it. We already talked about the 7th house and where the midheaven is. Jupiter's in Libra, the ruler of the 7th house. Venus is in the 7th house too in your solar return chart. So this is partnerships play a massive role in your life this year. This is pretty much the theme of what this is. And so if we just created the solar return chart without your chart, which I didn't do, I didn't think about it, we know with the ascendant at 25 Virgo, we know that Jupiter is in your 1st house. So continue to work with the lady you're working with for your physical well-being. Because when Jupiter's in the 1st house, our physical well-being, this is an opportunity for really good feelings, feeling healthy, but it's also about expansion. You said it. So if you don't work consistently this year on staying physically healthy, the waistline might expand. Well, you know ahead of time.
I know.
Now you know. So now is just the period. I feel like I'm scolding you. Now is just know that this is something that you don't have to hyper focus on, but staying healthy is what's important.
Yeah. Now you're telling me this going into the year where there's going to be my wedding, bachelor parties, Jack and Jack parties, and then let's not forget the all-you-can-eat resort for the honeymoon. You think there's going to be some expansion? No, we're going to fight against it.
All right.
Go ahead.
I wish I'd done the separate chart, and I didn't. So let me see. And again, I already talked about your ascendant, your midheaven. That puts Venus in Taurus. All I can do is the planets close to them because I don't know where the division is. So if we turn it like that, that puts Venus in just the solar return chart. That puts Venus in the 9th house of education. So I know you teach a lot anyways, but I'm wondering how that can shift some. Venus and Taurus is like...
Well, my teaching has taken a secondary role.
Yeah.
And, I've just inked a contract to do more online classes.
Yeah.
Which I've kind of I ran out of time.
Yeah.
And, we have the Wolf Healing Center, but it's been taking a back seat to all of these events and expos.
Yeah.
So this has been This is a very up conversation for us because both Angie and I really want to be doing more teaching.
Yeah.
But that means something else we have to be doing less of
Yeah.
because the petition for more hours in a day and more days in a week went unanswered.
I don't want more
Again.
hours in a day. I don't want more hours in a day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I've worked so many hours. I'm self-employed like you are, like, you know, we all are. And it's just like,
Yep.
it's nonstop. You heard my complaints over the weekend.
Yep.
All right.
I just want to know if I'm going to get my energy back. I've been slacking lately. Ask Angie.
Kevin, I explained that in the
We
beginning.
just talked about
It's
that.
your balsamic period.
Yes.
I know. You've been running around like a crazy person, but you don't have the same,
Energy draw.
energy.
I don't.
Supply. You just don't. So you have to, we have to be a little more Virgoan and, you know, that Virgo ascendant as opposed to the Scorpio ascendant, you know, you can pull that out. It's not
Okay.
here yet. It starts tomorrow at 11:30.
Okay.
No. All right. All right. So the other thing that does too, then, I'm not sure of all of them, but it would typically put, that's the MC. Yes. So that means your Mars, the solar return Sun and Mars are in the solar return chart, 10th house.
Okay.
So that, again, brings you to the front of the room, to the top of the class, if you will,
Okay.
where everybody can see you up on stage.
There you go. Well, it's time to do some more stage speaking.
Stage,
Yeah.
Yep. So where's the Saturn?
And
Because
Saturn,
it's getting close to my return.
Saturn is straight across from the midheaven. So that means Saturn is at the bottom of the solar return chart. It's in your natal first house conjuncture Jupiter. So I'll get to that in a second. So with Saturn in the solar return chart, straight across from my public image, right below is home and family. You're stabilizing what is home and family. You may even buy a home this year. You may even figure out where your home base is for once. I mean, I know you're born in New Hampshire, but New Hampshire?
I was born in Exeter, New Hampshire.
Exeter, that's right.
But raised in Maine.
Yeah, but you were born here in New England.
Yep.
You know, will you stay? This is a year that you actually might make a decision around that. We don't typically go anywhere as far as moving, we don't go anywhere when Saturn's anchored at the bottom. There's a lot of karma that comes with that too. The bottom of the chart. And again, this is just a secondary influence, if you will, for the year, working on family lineage concerns, issues, genetics, any of that stuff that came from our ancestors into us. We're thousands of years of people thinking and saying and doing certain things, and we're the living manifestation of that. So how do you heal that now? There's an opportunity to go some ancestral healing or things in that nature.
This is a year I'm going to do some exorcisms.
Exorcisms.
I'm going to get rid of some of my family demons.
That works.
I'm going to sprinkle them with holy water and make them melt like the Wicked Witch of the West.
All right. I think from the way I have this, let me talk about, there's a couple things we can talk about because they're natal aspects, but since they're so slow, they're transits actually, that you're gonna feel it all year. So at this point, Pluto is connected to natal Saturn. So the solar return Pluto, the transit of Pluto, since they're so slow, they're all the same. And they're with Saturn right now. So it's restructuring. We have the same thing. We're not that far apart in age.
Yep.
Restructuring what we think is our foundation. We get this before the Saturn return, right? I got the Saturn return the same as you, and we get this before the Saturn return, which not everybody gets. So we get to reorganize what we think is our structure and our foundation in life. And then the Saturn return will come, and it's about 2 years away, approximately. And when that comes through, we'll have pretty much done most of it, and we get back what we've put into it. So we're all in a year of, especially all of us born in this year, we're born in a year of restructuring because of Pluto. And
Hear
then
all those? Do you hear that, you people? All of you people born in 1985?
right,
Go
I
ahead.
almost said the year, by the way. That's why I paused. I'll tell people when I was born because I don't care. But I do. And then the solar return Saturn, which is also the transiting Saturn right now, is connected, is exactly a couple of degrees from Jupiter. So this is where it's a blessing because while you have solar return Jupiter in your first house, expansion, Saturn on your natal Jupiter, which is contraction. So you've got this if you maintain a really good routine. That's what Saturn says. I won't expand because we're holding it in. It's like I'm going to keep wearing these size 12 jeans no matter how much of a flop over I might get. And that's going to remind me how tight my britches are. And so I'm going to stop or I'm going to do whatever and I'm going to shrink back down. That's Saturn trying to control things, especially that's Saturn trying to control Jupiter. It's like bulge. It does. It feels like a bulge. It really does. You know, when you have that flop over your belt, that Dunlop, right? They call it the Dunlop over the belt. That's Saturn trying to control Jupiter. Jupiter's going to squeeze out any little hole it can for extra room.
Hey, well, for me, it would be bulging muscles and a
There you
bulging
go.
chest.
I love it. I love it.
I'll be a He-Man. Okay, so before we run out of time, I'm going to have you switch to Angie.
I will. And again, I did the charts differently for the two of them, and I don't have Angie's natal chart with me, so I can't talk about it the same way, but I can talk about just the solar return chart in and of itself. And so that's this. And the first coolest thing I saw is that you have Leo rising, and that's his Mercury. And so that is nice. And again, when a person has Leo rising, this is the opportunity. I think you're born with Virgo rising. But with Leo there, again, it puts you on the front stage. I think her natal, that's right. I see that look on your face. I believe your natal ascendant is Virgo, and your solar return ascendant is Virgo. So that's a nice opportunity of working together too. I mean, you already are, but it just gives you extra help and extra.
And her rising is my midheaven.
Right. Right.
Natally.
Right. I
So
believe
that would
that's
make
true.
sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So
I think that's what it is. I could be wrong, but I just looked at it this morning. And so with Leo on the ascendant, again, Angie, that puts you out on stage a little bit. We've talked a lot about Leo, so you know that it's passionate. So what are you passionate about? What are you excited about? What really gets you going? Focus on that. Kind of bring it's fixed energy, so maybe we can bring those energies in a little bit, because Geminis, we can be scattered sometimes. I'm that way. I'm a Gemini too, but we can be scattered, and so it helps us to bring it in. But Mercury is in Gemini this year. It's far away from your sun in Gemini, but still Mercury's in Gemini, so for your solar return. So it's still all about that communicating and that social aspect with people.
Yeah.
So you really are able to do that a lot. So there's still a ton of communication. The solar return 11th house is packed. This is something else that we look at in solar return charts, is how full are certain areas. If some area is heavily compacted, then that means that there's a lot of attention in that sector. And that 11th house is hopes and dreams. It's also the area of your chart which is about the groups and the associations that mean something to you that you want to work with. You know, that and enlightening others. And you enlighten them through that Gemini energy, because there's a lot of Gemini in there. So enlighten them through, again, communicating in more personal endeavors, but in group type environments. So that's there. Scorpio moon.
And what does that do?
Solar return, you heard him. It's his moon too.
Oh.
The solar return moons, oh my God, are they exactly the same? They are. Yours is 23 and yours is 25. Oh my God, of Scorpio.
So
You
what does
two
that
have the
do?
same well, you know what? You can take your relationship out to a deeper place. What you guys do together as business partners and as friends, you can take it to another level. and get that deep connection, because you're creating a karmic bond, even if you, I don't know what your karmic is together, you might know, I don't know, but it's creating a deeper karmic connection between the two of you, which is wonderful. That's so cool. I love to see stuff like this. See, this is authentic. This is how excited I always am. I've been doing astrology for 30 years as of April, and I'm still excited about this career.
Yeah.
I love it. So it's just that deeper understanding of you, that deeper piece of who you are. And together as well.
Now, where's her natal moon? Do you remember?
Her natal moon, it's the 9th house in Gemini, early Gemini.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she had a sun moon Gemini.
She does. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that the solar return Mercury is within a couple of degrees of your natal moon, which is an opportunity for you to investigate and learn and know and understand yourself on a different level this year, because this is personal. But since we're doing both of you together, there's connections.
Yeah.
Again, there's that web. It's all over the place, you know.
Will show, yeah.
The connections will show what we have between people. Then your midheaven for the year is Aries. So you really need to define what it is you want as an individual. Just what do I want that's going to help me to just achieve fill in the blank.
Right.
Or just ask, what do I want? That's what Aries is. Aries is the I am. If we go into a spiritual place of it, it's that I am energy. And the meditations of that too.
And it's in the midheavens.
It's in the midheaven on the cusp of the 10th house. That's the midheaven. It's the same position. So the height of the chart and the height of the chart. So this is like somebody just like, okay, who am I? You know, who am I? Why am I here? This is an opportunity to actually define that now. Doesn't mean you haven't defined it before. It just means this year it's important for you. Yeah, to define who you are.
So when you ask the question, who am I?
Who am I?
Jean Valjean. That's oh, sorry. Little Les Mis. Go ahead.
I don't know them. Now, I don't.
It's a Broadway musical, Les Mis.
Les
Go ahead.
Mis, I've heard of it.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
I love the theater. I was in the theater since I was 11, but I didn't follow through on it. I did a lot of work. So your Mars, as well as in the sign of Cancer, because your birthday was in June, is June 7, yours is July 4. And so the solar return is current times. And so your Mars is also in the sign of Cancer. And you both have the moon in Scorpio. And what else? And then what's the commonality? What else is there? You both have Venus in Taurus. Wow. So that's just cool. So your solar return has Venus at 1 Taurus and yours has it at 29. And when we have that, it's like, what do I value? And it's right next to the Aries in your chart. So it's all about asking that question. I told him the same thing, but it's about, what do I value? I'm shifting this now. And it's in the solar return 10th chart, a 10th house. And so it's about, what do I value? What do I need in my career? Who am I? Or the I am. Get into the I am meditations. If you know anything about that, that would really be helpful.
I do meditations on that, yeah.
Right, okay. Of course you do. And that's what this would be for the year, is really something that you focus towards that, then your energy is naturally going to flow towards that, because this is what the solar return asks us to do. And with Venus and Taurus and almost all the Taurus energy in that 10th house, looking at what you value in the career and being truth to yourself is a great way. And this is really good for financial too, because Taurus, Venus and Taurus, if I can identify what I love or what my skills and talents are, especially in the 10th house, and I pull this into my career, I'm going to do really well with it financially. Because yes, we are of service to others, but we also are living human beings that have to have things, food, you know, shelter, basics.
Yeah.
And so this would
right.
be really good. This is that Venus and Taurus energy as well.
You didn't tell her we were homeless? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's it in a nutshell. That's more than a nutshell, but that's pretty much what I have prepared. Let me see if I have anything else. I believe your natal ascendant, if I'm thinking correctly, which is Virgo. Let me think. That's not how I want to do it. Is in the solar return second house, so that also adds to the energy of Venus in Taurus, giving more attention. So it's like, okay, you know, so we have different piles of stuff. So here's your Venus pile. There's like a couple things there, and there's the moon. There's one thing there, and then Mercury. There's one there, right? So we're piling more stuff on different things. Makes the pile bigger, makes the information bigger, makes the attention. So making sure you understand what your values are, and again, using those skills and talents.
So we're going with values, skills, talents.
Yeah.
Who am I? What am
Yeah.
I?
And what do I love? And what am I passionate
Is there
about?
anything, what goes on with the health piece of this? Is there anything?
The health piece, Pluto is in your 6th house, and with Pluto in the 6th house, that does show us that there is a period of changing health. So if you were to, and it's Pluto, so it's slow transformation in the health department. So yes, focus on what it is that you are working on. Know that it is a slow process. All right? So we always have control over everything that is in our charts. The thing that we want to do is to work with what is present. That's why hearing these things and understanding this is important, because it says, well, they said this, and so why don't I move towards that? It is not the end-all truth for you,
Right.
ever.
It's something like anything. Even
Like
if you're
anything.
doing
We all have to
readings,
remember
spiritual
that.
reading,
Right? We know
you
that.
have to follow the path.
We all have clients like that think that when we tell them something that that's it and there's nothing else, and they really live with. I've heard that. I've seen them. You see them later, and even if what you say, even when what you say is what does come to pass, they still have all the power. Don't give your power away to anybody. Listen, and then make your own choices.
Yeah.
So where is her Jupiter?
The solar return Jupiter is in the 3rd house, which is Gemini's natural home. And so this is where you're looking for fair and balance in that communicating, in the work that you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So her Jupiter is it's hanging out in the 3rd?
It's in the solar return 3rd house.
And what's the sign?
It's in Libra, like yours. Yeah, Jupiter will stay in one sign for a whole year.
Okay.
So it's still in Libra, just like it is for you.
Okay.
Yep.
So that means, so if I hear you correctly, and we're almost out of time here, but this year as business partners, we'll have the same kind of energy
Yep.
moving forward. We're both figuring out our values, but with it both being in Taurus, they're likely to be very harmonious because they have an energy underpinning.
Yes.
And with my midheaven down to my ascendant,
Yes.
which is her natural ascendant, and my Mercury on her
ascendant.
progressed ascendant,
Solar
it means
return.
communication's going to
Yeah.
be high.
Yeah.
Our being seen in the public will be high. Both of our challenges in this year is to really focus on what we want this business that we do together to be.
Yes. Yes.
If we get that correct, it's going to be explosive and very profitable, is what I
Yes.
hear.
Yes. Methodical. Be methodical. Be choosy. I feel like I'm lecturing you now. Be methodical. Be choosy about the things that you're doing. And you already know that because you guys have been full steam ahead with all the things that you're doing. And now you're really tired. So start being just a little more selective of what's important.
Okay.
That is going to be a key for both of you.
We've got this on tape. We can play it to each other over and over again, which will be necessary.
Yes.
So we're going to be winding this down. We want to thank Web of Light Astrologer Dorothy Morgan.
Thank you.
Solar Returns. We all have them. They're part of the market. They're part of the market along the way. They're the road that we're traveling on. Your solar return happens whether you focus on it or not. If you do focus on it enough to acquire additional information, then you get to make better decisions. Namaste.